Hello everyone, and welcome to the 2019 Student Government Association Debates. Thank you for coming to join us here in the Piazza, as well as online at q30tv.com. My name is Joel Vanner, and I am the current Vice President of Q30 Television and the moderator of tonight's debates. Q30 Television appreciates the opportunity given to us by SGA tonight to host these debates. And we hope that tonight all students will become better informed voters for Wednesday's election. You can stay up to date on the debates tonight and the results on Wednesday by visiting our page, q30tv.com/debates2019, and tuning in to the Q30 newscast Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. for our live election coverage and interviews. The Q30 newscast will be live on the Q30 News Facebook page and viewable at q30tv.com/watch. To tell you a little bit more about Student Government Association, I now welcome to the stage current Student Government President Ryan Hicks.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's very exciting to see the Piazza be standing room only, to have this many people here who are invested in the elections, invested in the future of our student body, who's going to represent our student body. Student government works very hard, day in and day out, to represent all of you, to advocate for all of you, to make sure that Quinnipiac is the best that it can possibly be every day. So we're very excited for our candidates tonight. We have a lot of very talented, very highly qualified candidates for you to hear from. Just a reminder for those of you who showed up a little bit late, we are also doing a raffle tonight. So if you have not gotten your raffle ticket, you can get that in the back with Luke. And you have to stay till the end of the event in order to win that raffle. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Ryan. To provide a unified experience tonight for all candidates and for those watching at home, we will be adhering to a debate structure as outlined by the Student Government Association. And that structure is as follows. Each debate will begin with a brief summary of the position the candidate or candidates on stage are running for. Each candidate will have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute opening statement. Each candidate will then answer 2 questions. The candidates will have 1 minute to respond directly to the question that I ask them. Some questions for the debate tonight were fielded for each position from the student body via a Google form. Candidates will have the opportunity to provide a 30-second rebuttal statement only to address the other candidate's response to a question. The rebuttal must directly address a point brought by the other candidate. At the close, the candidates will have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement. All timing will begin on the first word, and a sign will be displayed to each candidate when 10 seconds remain. Official time is being kept at the moderator's table by Ryan Hicks and Victoria Johnson to ensure accuracy. Again, this debate structure is provided to Q30 Television tonight by the Student Government Association. So we will begin tonight with the position of Chief Justice. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Chief Justice include, but are not limited to, chairing the Judicial and Ethics Board, coordinating all grievance processes within SGA, being familiar with all SGA governing documents, retaining all governing documents, and ensuring the privacy of all confidential information. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidate for Chief Justice, Lily Gaeta. Lily, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is Lily Gaeta and I am running to be the Chief Justice of the Student Government Association. I have been on SGA for nearly 2 years now, and throughout my time I have shown my dedication to the organization and my drive to better Quinnipiac. I have served as a justice on the Judicial and Ethics Board this past year, so I am already familiar with how the board works. I have also sat on 2 committees to revise our governing documents, so I am well versed in how the organization is supposed to function in the most effective way possible. If elected to this position, I promise to make sure members of SGA follow the Code of Ethics and to align policy with practice.
We will now move into questions. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked. The first question is, how do you plan to hold yourself to the same standard that you will be keeping other members of Student Government Association to?
I think you just have to follow everything that's in our governing documents and don't be hypocritical when it comes to anything, and make sure that you are just responding and acting the same way that every other member of the organization would.
The second question for you, Lily, is how do you define ethics and how will you apply that to your role this year?
I feel like ethics are a very subjective definition, but personally, I would just define them on what you see as right and wrong. And I think that would apply to all different situations, whether it's a grievance or whether you're going over the governing documents. Yeah, I don't really have much else.
You now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you all again for coming out tonight. While I am running unopposed, I would greatly appreciate all of your votes on Wednesday. I will only be the second person to fill this position, so I will work my hardest to develop the role to its full capacity. Thank you for coming out, and I encourage you to vote Lily Gaeta for Chief Justice on Wednesday.
The next position is Vice President for Finance. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Vice President for Finance include, but are not limited to, serving as the chair of the Finance Committee, distributing and monitoring the Student Government Association purchasing card, keeping an accurate record of all financial transactions and records, keeping funded organizations aware of their financial situations, relaying the recommendations of the Finance Committee to SGA. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidate for Vice President for Finance, Glenn Adams. Glenn, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Hello, my name is Glenn Adams, and I'm running for Vice President for Finance because I know that I'm the best person for this position. I say this because my experience in student government for the last 2 years has shaped me for this position. My time on student government began when I ran to be a senator of the freshman class, and I quickly became a member of the Finance Committee. Later, I was then elected to be the Student Government Association Secretary, and during my sophomore year, I continued on to be, again, Senator, Secretary, and the member of the Finance Committee. Over the course of the last 2 years, I've taken part in reshaping our finance policy, and I have been exposed to numerous special appeals and budgeting processes, thus making me the most qualified candidate for this position. After working on several initiatives and having the privilege of working under 2 previous Vice Presidents for Finance, I know that I've gained valuable knowledge and experience that will allow me to best serve the student body of Quinnipiac.
We will now move into questions, and you will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked. The first question is, due to the high demand from students for this position, how will you manage this position with other duties, like schoolwork or other organizations you are involved in?
Due to the high importance of this role, I will always put this as a priority. This is a big deal for our student organizations, as this is how they operate and how they function. So this is a priority to me and for them as well. I will treat this with the utmost regard and always work to be as well time managed as possible to ensure that everyone has access to me at all times.
The second question for you, Glenn, is, with a new increase in the Student Government Association budget, what plans do you have to maximize the new money?
Yes, so I hope to increase our student access to that budget to allow more organizations to attend more conferences, competitions, and to increase their access to that money in that form. I think with this new budget, there's more of an ability to budget them through special appeals and other accesses for that reason.
You now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
I would like to take the time to reiterate that I have spent my last 2 years at Quinnipiac advocating in areas such as campus dining, parking, academics, and the recreation center. Furthermore, I've tirelessly been learning how to use the role of Vice President for Finance to better the student experience. I assure you that I have both the knowledge to complete the job and the passion to act as the best advocate for working to get resources to the student body and its organizations. I guarantee that I will be working towards making funds more accessible to students and towards ensuring that those funds are going to events necessary to continue the growth of our community. I look forward to serving as your Vice President for Finance, so thank you for your time and vote Glenn Adams on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
The next position is Vice President for Public Relations and Marketing. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Vice President for Public Relations and Marketing include, but are not limited to, chairing the Marketing and PR Committee, coordinating all community service projects for SGA, updating all SGA social media accounts and websites, promoting SGA initiatives, events, and general affairs, reporting SGA updates to media outlets as needed, maintaining the SGA DoYouQU account, coordinating representation at events coordinated by the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, ensuring that members of SGA's public behavior is professional and consistent with the mission of SGA, and making referrals to the Chief Justice as necessary. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for Vice President for Public Relations and Marketing, Olamide Batasha and Jamien Jean-Baptiste. Olamide, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Olamide Batasha. I'm a sophomore business management and advertising double major from Westchester, New York, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of Marketing and PR. For the past 2 years that I've been on student government, I've served as a class president, making small to big changes around campus, such as adding waffles to the caf and replacing printers university-wide. Currently, I am working on tailgating with Julia Souser and adding a spring involvement fair. Now I want to switch gears and talk about trust. I want to ask 2 questions. Raise your hand if you use Lyft. Now raise your hand if you use Tinder. No, some of you raised your hand, but most of you guys do. But students put their trust in things that they don't know. However, they don't put their trust in student government. And student government is something that people do are aware of. In fact, they don't even know what student government does. That's where I want to come in. I want to make SJ more transparent by going up to students, not just during election season. Creating personal relationships with the student body will make us more transparent and allow students to trust us and know they can depend on us. PR isn't just about getting our name out there and the events that we're doing, it's also about how people perceive us as an organization, and I believe that it's something that needs to be worked and focused on. If elected, I want to change the perspective of who we are as an organization, breaking the barrier that is there now. Next, I want to work closely with the Vice President of SJ to make sure every success doesn't go unnoticed. And I want to work with the student media because they really do such a great job of getting students informed. My name is Olamide Batasha, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of Public Relations and Marketing.
Jamien, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Hello, my name is Jamien. I'm running for the position of Vice President of Public Relations. Throughout my campaign, I've established myself as the unconventional candidate, the candidate that is willing to think outside of the box to get my message across, the candidate that is not afraid to take creative approaches to my marketing strategies. And I believe that creativity is a necessary component of the position that I'm running for. A great man once said that if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that is insanity. And I believe that the way that SGA is marketing our initiatives, marketing our events, and marketing ourselves is insanity, because we cannot keep resorting to butchering the students with emails on a daily basis. We cannot keep littering the residential halls with flyers and posters. I like to compare it to pizza when you come in as a freshman. You come in as a freshman and every student organization has free pizza. They say, hey, come to our event, we have free pizza. We have free pizza. And you're like, wow, at first this is really great. But then after 3 weeks, you start to realize every student organization has pizza and you kind of get sick of it. I think that is comparative to the way that we market ourselves as organizations, and that has to stop. We have to take more creative approaches to really reaching the student bodies, the students that are uninvolved. And I think that the creative strategy works because when you establish something and it's effective, students tend to jump on the trend and do exactly what you're doing. So I think that if student government takes that spark in creating that creative marketing strategy, that all the other student organizations will jump on that bandwagon, and then we will have a university that transforms from the conventional flyers and posters to a really creative kind of way of reaching out to the students. Thank you.
We will now move into questions. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked. The candidate to respond to the question first will be alternated. Jamien, this first question is for you. As a student body, we understand that initiatives take time. What steps are you going to take to keep students updated on the progress of different initiatives, not just the ones that have been successfully completed?
I think it's important to not prematurely let the students know what we are working on, because in that sense, they start expecting things that we cannot absolutely guarantee them. So if we start working on initiatives and we're still waiting for that administration approval, that I don't think it's our place to necessarily update them right away. That's why I believe that we need to kind of, I mean, it is unfortunate, but we do need to hold off on those responses. That way that if we say that this student representative or senator is working on this specific initiative, you're not expecting it to be completed in dull time. You are just, I don't think that's something that we should actually be marketing to the students just yet.
Olamide, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to his statement?
None.
Olamide, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I got him. So what I would do, I agree with Jamie, like just not prematurely just telling students what we are doing. However, we do have to keep them updated somehow, and I believe that we should be going up to students and telling them, hey, this is what we're working on, and if you have any ideas to come up to us. And in addition to that, like when we're constantly coming up to them and telling them, hey, we are working on things, we're not just like laying back and sitting back doing nothing, then they know that we are working on things, and that's how we're going to keep them updated.
Jamie, and you have a 30-second rebuttal to her statement.
So I definitely do think it is imperative to keep them updated on what we're doing, so I do agree in that sense. And then that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it.
Olamide, this question is for you. Students appreciate fun, interactive content from student government, but sometimes you will have to deal with serious matters. Do you believe that you will be able to switch from the fun, interactive role to the serious press statement role, and how?
I believe that I will be able to do this, especially when something does happen. We have to immediately go up to the students, like make sure that we are out there, and make it like a press release saying, hey, we are aware that this has happened, and that this is the information that we have now, and that we will update you regarding what has happened.
Jamie, do you have a 30-second rebuttal?
I do agree in that sense that student government definitely has to take that approach in terms of having that fun student side, because then that starts to perpetuate things like student government is elitist. And if we stop being students and we focus too much on student government, then we get the sense that the students we're not approachable to the students because they think we're above them.
Jamie, and the same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you. So yes, like I was just currently saying, that we need to have those different hats. We have the student hat, and then when we take that off, it's SGA hat. And then when it's time to actually get serious, then we do deal with those matters. In terms of PR and marketing, there does tend to be things that go on in SGA that have to go noticed by the students, regardless of what it is, whether it's bad publicity, good publicity. I believe that it's important that we have to be transparent at all times. But when it does come to that serious matter, then it's important to have that.
Olamide, do you have a 30-second rebuttal?
Yes, I also agree with Jamie what he said, that being able to be transparent with the student body is definitely something that's important, because students are aware that we aren't transparent, and as a result of that, people aren't able to trust us as student government. So just being as transparent as we can and just being on top of things in student government is important.
Jamie, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
So as outlined in my opening, I do want to take this creative approach. I'm working on 3 current things. Creativity. The reason why I like that campaign of creativity is that you can prove it to the student bodies before they elect you into a position. You could run on things like reliability, transparency, advocacy, but the fact of the matter is that you cannot prove that until they elect you in. I hope you guys have all had the opportunity to see my moving poster in the calf and the rat. I hope you guys have all had the opportunity to listen to the election mixtape that I have just released. That is just a testimony to the creativity that I wish to bring to this position. And then second of all, I want to work on SGA approachability. Approachability, I think that while I do commend student government's efforts in really getting the students to come into our suite, I don't think they're enough. I don't think that a good incentive to come into the suite is just to open the door. I think that incentives like just having a friendly conversation with us aren't enough. We need to have monthly incentives such as, now I'm not going to stick to this name because it's a little tacky for my taste, but treat in the suite every single month, where we have something like ice cream outside the SGA suite, and then the toppings are inside the SGA suite, so you're kind of forced to come in every single month. Like if there's good incentives, and what's stopping from students from coming in and leaving? Absolutely nothing, but we already broke that barrier and they're already in the suite, and it's up to us to really reach out to them and really engage them and get their soliciting for their ideas and stuff. Thank you.
Olamide, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It really means a lot to us that you do care about where the future of SGA is going. And not only am I going to bring creativity, because that's not only the thing that you have to bring out. You also have to make things happen. You have to make sure that you're also executing things. And I believe that I'll be able to do that. And I also believe I'm coming with a different perspective because I am also an advertising major, so I know the technicalities of being just for the position. And if you haven't checked out already, I also have a rap music video on my Instagram at olamide.g. It's a bop, so you should definitely check it out. And thank you guys for coming out tonight, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next position is Vice President for Student Experience. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Vice President for Student Experience include but are not limited to chairing the Student Experience Committee, acting as a liaison for student organizations and advocate for the co-curricular engagement of undergraduate students, collecting and maintaining data of public opinion and coordinating assessment of student opinions and needs, serving as a resource for student organizations by providing them opportunities to discuss initiatives and concerns, and preserving the official documents of chartered organizations. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for Vice President for Student Experience, Kay Pattyfote and Esau Green. Kay, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Good evening, everyone who is watching this debate from their room and who are currently here right now. My name is Kay Pattyfoot, and I'm a sophomore journalism major from Connecticut, and I want to be your next Vice President for Student Experience. I've been on SGA for the past 2 years now as a senator, and with the help of feedback from students, I was able to provide shuttles to the mall and work on a variety of other initiatives that would benefit us all. As your Vice President for Student Experience, I will make sure to respect, elevate, and celebrate your voice here on campus.
Esau, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Esau Green, and I'm running for your VP of Student Experience. I want to start with a quote that I live my life on. Once you make an observation, you have an obligation. And I've lived from that from my first day on campus. As a freshman and continuing from now, I've been on 3 various e-boards. I've been on President Olian's Strategic Task Force 5-year plan with the current VP of Student Experience, Austin Calvo. I've actively and tirelessly served the student body. Currently, we have a student experience that's lacking. I'm someone who believes in the culture and the potential of this university. I'm someone who believes in long-lasting change and effects on this campus. I advocate and meet students on various levels, different inputs. I was the chair of the Multicultural Leadership Council, where I was chair of 16 various cultural organizations on campus. I'm somebody who believes in change. As Jamian so eloquently said before, we as a student body aren't doing enough. And I want to be that voice, I want to be that leadership, I want to be that change to push us to do the best we can. I believe the initiatives we've done so far and the things we've accomplished on SGA are adequate, yes, but we could be doing so much more. I believe in us as a university, I believe in us as a student body, and I want to change what it means to be a Bobcat. I want to change what it means to be a legend. I want to change what it means to be QU. So please, vote for me Wednesday. Thank you.
We will now move into questions. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked. The candidate to respond first will be alternated. Esau, how do you intend to represent all student groups, not just the ones that you were familiar with?
Thank you. That's a great question. I get that question a lot, essentially because as a proponent, representation for me was a huge problem. I believe student government was lacking representation, and that was what I really focused my voice on, diversity and inclusion. That being said, I'm someone who actively meets and talks with various perspectives on student government. I attended COSGA, where I got to see, COSGA was just the Conference of Student Governments, where I got to see various different perspectives, outlooks, teach-ins, and et cetera on different prospective students. A luxury I have is you, the student body. I get to be hands-on. I get to meet you in different varying facets. I'm someone who's very approachable, and I go out of my way to be educated. I really view knowledge as not just a privilege but a luxury. Knowledge not just from books, but from interactions and perspectives from other students. So I'm willing to go out, meet you, and learn, not just from classrooms, not from my own friend groups, et cetera, but from you, the students. Thank you.
Kay, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to Esau's statement?
I'm good.
Kay, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
How do you intend to represent all student groups, not just the groups that you were familiar with?
So I think the only way to go about that is really getting out there and getting to know people face to face, interacting with them, getting to know what do they think needs to be changed on this campus, how can we change it, what can we bring to the table that has not already been brought yet. And I think the only way to do that is, to go to different orgs meetings, just talk to people in the cafeteria, talk to people on the quad, and really get to know them and understand why do they think our campus is lacking something, how can we really improve their experience. That's what I think needs to be done.
Esau, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to her statement?
I heavily agree with Kay. I would just like to know what various clubs or organizations have you so adequately yet went to.
The rebuttal is not for questioning, it's just a rebuttal
you.
of the statement.
I agree with Kay, and I would just leave it at that. Thank you.
Kay, this question is for you. What plans do you have to increase conversation about sensitive topics on campus?
Okay, I think what I would definitely do is definitely put on events, put on discussions, and really talk about these sensitive issues. Why are they so sensitive, and who is it really impacting, and why is it impacting them? Maybe bring in an outside person to give their perspective on the issue, so we're not just hearing Quinnipiac voices. And I also think it's important that when we have these discussions and we have these meetings, everyone knows that they're going to feel respected, and someone's view on something isn't going to be translated too conservative or too liberal. We're all respecting each other's voices, and we just want to hear what everyone has to say at the end of the day.
Esau, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement? Esau, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you. As an event many of you might have attended, Ask Away, that's not something I personally put on, but we've done things such as our roundtable discussions that haven't taken off yet, but I'm hopefully looking to see a lot of you guys at those events. Also, just like Kay, I'm looking to put on events that establish I don't believe in safe spaces, but brave spaces, kind of challenging us as a community to use our voice, to think more critically, to think more outside of our prospective friend groups and our perspectives as how we've grown up. I'm really working right now with one of the administrators and a faculty member, Carla Natali, to create events to get outside perspective speakers to come and talk to us. I'm really somebody who pushes forward students from various organizations, various groups, Greek life, et cetera, to come sit down and bridge the gap. As a liaison from the various organizations I partner with outside those organizations with the rest of the student body to create these events, and that's something I'm trying to continue. Working with various members of SGA, I've done the same thing, and we're looking to continue it next semester as well.
Kay, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement?
I would just agree that working with Greek life is really important since that's a good chunk of our population. And I think when we do events, they should definitely be there and be active in what they have to say.
Esau, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
First off, I would like to thank you all for coming out tonight. For those of you who are here and those of you who are watching at home. I know during our times, campaigning can be a little tedious and annoying to some of you, but please bear with us. This is because of how passionate we all are and care about the student body. Please continue to stay with us and keep us in mind, and keep in mind what you've heard tonight. And taking the experience, the passion, the ethics, and the precedent to continue to make your decision. I've been lucky to speak and advocate for you all and will continue to do so. No matter the stage I'm on, thank you all and have a wonderful night.
Kay, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
You've heard me speak. You've heard my opponent speak. So now it's up to you, the students. You've heard what I will do and what I want to do. With your support and your voice, we can show the administration the direction we want this campus to head towards. When voting Wednesday, April 10th, remember there are 2 candidates in this race. Make sure you vote for the one who will put their time, energy, and devotion into this position. The one who truly wants to make a change as your vice president for student experience. The one that isn't distracted by obtaining various roles on campus. Again, I'm Kay Pattyfa, and I hope you'll vote for me on Wednesday, April 10th. Thank you for your time.
The next position is Student Government Association Vice President. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Student Government Association Vice President include, but are not limited to, assuming all responsibilities from the President in the event of their absence, chairing the Student Advocacy Committee and the Election Committee, responding to and publicly recording all student concerns and their outcomes in a timely manner, and filling all vacancies when necessary per the election policy. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for Student Government Association Vice President Sophia Marshall and Julia Shade. Sophia, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Sophia Marshall. I am running for Vice President of SGA, and I am ready to fight for us. Over the course of my past 2 years serving on SGA, I have been diligently working on the issues that students genuinely care about: laundry, dining, residential improvements, health and wellness, and more. My continual hope is to genuinely help as many members of our community as I possibly can. Over the past few months, not including the suggestions received during campaigning nor cabinet meet and greets, I've received 269 documented suggestions from the student body through Instagram polls, DMs, or in-person encounters. These concerns have led to meetings with students that directly lead to meetings with administration, often outside of SGA when I am unable to work on these issues officially. I genuinely care, and I will continue to care for as long as I call myself a Bobcat. I will work diligently on reoccurring hot-button topics that students continually struggle with, including but not limited to free laundry, something that I have been working on for a year, updating of outdated residential halls, shuttles, dining, and parking, while also bringing some fresh ideas to the table, such as increasing the amount of scholarships students can obtain, adding more communal spaces for students, and increased connection between QU, SGA, and local government. With my determination and the ties I have built not only with the student body, but with administration as well, which is important, these changes can become a reality. I promise to bridge the gap between our student body and SGA, and in turn bring all of us between all of us in administration by holding a monthly outreach event where myself and my committee will go out into the community to receive direct feedback from you. The reason that SGA exists is to advocate for the greater good of the student body, and in order to do that, we need to do more and be better about hearing what you have to say. With that being said, this is page 1, a launchpad to exponential success for our community. I am ready to listen to your ideas and to continually work on what you want to see improved. This is merely a plan based off what we have consistently been hearing from the student body. However, I am ready to partner with you to enact change on a high level the way that you want to, and I genuinely cannot be more excited. Thank you.
Julia, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. Before I begin, thank you all so much for coming, and thank you to Q30 for hosting us. I want to start by posing a question. When I say parking, how does that make you feel? What about dorms? Food? Shuttles? I'm sure for a lot of you, feelings of frustration are filling your mind, but all those things are important parts of your everyday life and overall experience at Quinnipiac. Your feelings toward those types of things will affect how you look back on your undergraduate experience, which should fill you with pride, not frustration. If elected, my goal is to ensure both those day-to-day problems and large-scale issues we face are addressed head-on, and I know I'm the best person to finally accomplish those things. During my time on student government, I have a proven track record of completing initiatives and advocating for changes on our campus that are tangible. A lot of changes still need to be made, and I want to make sure student voices are heard and are effectively put into action. We often don't realize the power that we have to make changes at this school. Ensuring an open dialogue and many streams of communication with the student body would be my priority. You should all be able to voice what changes you want to be made, and with a transparent student government, you will all know that we're always advocating for you.
We will now move into questions. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked, and the candidate to respond to the question first will be alternated. Julia, this question's for you. As Vice President, you are the chair of the Student Advocacy Committee, and you essentially hold others accountable for the progress of their initiatives. How have you held yourself accountable, and how do you plan to hold others accountable?
Thank you. So over my time on SGA, I've been able to hold myself accountable for my initiatives. I have a proven track record of completing initiatives. I'm always working on something. Each week in SAC, I've been able to give a report back to Luca Hearn, who was our vice president this year, who chaired the committee. And just being able to show that there's always progress being made. I've had meetings with administrators and just making sure that I'm always moving forward with my initiatives. I think if I were elected vice president, in order to hold other people accountable, I'd really make sure that everybody is working on initiatives they're really passionate about, because I think that makes them more motivated to go out there and make sure things get done.
Sophia, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that
None.
statement? Sophia, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
As Vice President, you are the chair of the Student Advocacy Committee, and you essentially hold others accountable for the progress of their initiatives. How have you held yourself accountable, and how do you plan to hold others accountable?
I think being the president of my class for the past 2 years has kind of made me lead by example, firstly. I think it would be kind of hypocritical of me to go into a meeting and say, hey guys, what have you done? I haven't done anything, but what have you done? So I think that helps. And I think not only that, but I try to stay extremely transparent with the Quinnipiac community. I don't know how many of you follow me on Instagram, but I'm continually posting stuff to my Instagram story. What do you guys want to see? This is the progress I'm making. So I think in that way too, not only am I holding myself accountable, but I'm also making sure the student body is holding me accountable, and I think that really helps as well.
Sophia, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement?
I think it's one thing to be transparent with the student body, but I think it's another thing to make sure that there's always progress being made on those initiatives. Instead of just having open promises to the student body, I think it's important to follow through with them.
Sophia, this question is for you. One role of the vice president is to oversee the elections. There have been a variety of new positions created. What plans do you have to increase interest and retention in student government?
I think it all has to do with how we bring ourselves out to the student body. I think, as I stated in my opening statement, I really want to get out there. And even though the vice president role isn't traditionally a role where we go out into the student body, I definitely want to make it part of that. I think any member of SGA should be very present in the community. I think that's very important. So just around election time, going out, like I said, once a month with my committee and just being like, hey, these are the positions that are, present in our community. They're very important. This is what you'd be doing. If it's something you'd be interested in, giving them the information that they need to run. And just overall, I think also painting a good light in the community based off productivity of initiatives that these positions are having under my administration. And yeah.
Julia, do you have a 30-second rebuttal?
No rebuttal.
Julia, same question goes for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, that's okay. I think during election season, it's especially important to get out there, but I think that it's a year-long process in order to make sure students are interested and know that we're always advocating for the students. I think I'd be able to work with whoever is elected to be the vice president of public relations and make sure that together we're being transparent with the student body, and so that they know that what the power the students have on our campus. So I think, yes, going out to door to door would be great, and I think that's a huge thing that we should be able to do, is get that out there more, but it's going to be a year-long process.
Sophia, do you have a 30-second rebuttal?
I agree. I think that it's very important to, kind of do things at the end and like all throughout the year as well. And I think that in order to do that, you need to be extremely transparent with the student body and with yourself, and like get out there and also focus on internal stuff, but at the same time just like really harping on it all the time. So I agree with you.
Julia, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you. Every day we face a variety of problems, and some aren't even acknowledged because we as SGA don't do enough to make students realize the power of their voice. If elected, I would make sure that your voices are heard and put into action. I want to make changes that will have a lasting impact at QU and make this student experience significantly better. I have a track record of tangible accomplishments and not empty promises and in-progress projects. A vote for Julia Shade is a vote for your voice, so finally get your seat at the table.
Sophia, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you. First of all, I want to take this time to thank you all for coming tonight to listen. Being here shows that you genuinely care about the future of this campus, and we all really appreciate that. With that being said, if you want to see purposeful, persistent, and continual change, vote Sophia for Vice President. If you want to see change in the things that you didn't think could be changed, like free laundry, vote Sophia for Vice President. If you want to feel genuinely connected to your student government and feel like you can voice your concerns comfortably whenever and however you'd like, vote Sophia for Vice President. I genuinely care about this school. I genuinely care about our experience at this school. I genuinely care about the lasting changes that will add value to our degrees long after we're gone, while also adding to our experience while we're here. I genuinely care about all students, being especially mindful of students that feel marginalized or underrepresented on this campus. I genuinely care about all concerns, as any issue, regardless of how small, is incredibly important and needs to be advocated for just as much as those concerns that are seemingly obvious on campus. I want to take the next step in advocating for you this year, being more physically accessible to our body so that when there's a problem, we see it and we face it immediately. I have the experience, the connections, the passion, and the drive to make the changes you care about on this campus. Then, I plan on going a step further than that by creating ties with local government to push policies that directly affect this campus and acting change within QU that much more quickly. If necessary, hold on. This is our school. It's time to hold administration accountable for things that need to change. This is my promise to you that if you voice a concern to me, if necessary, I will sit down with you within 24 hours so that we can come up with a plan for action, whether that plan be through SGA or not. Together, we can create a culture on this campus that we can brag about. Come Wednesday, I can't begin to describe how much it would mean to me to have your support. Let's make this place the QU that we want it to be. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to vote Sophia Marshall for Vice President on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. The next position is Student Government Association President. To overview the position, the responsibilities of the Student Government Association President include, but are not limited to, presiding over Student Government Association Senate at general meetings, overseeing chairs of each standing committee in SGA, sitting on the University Board of Trustees in accordance with their bylaws, serving as the primary contact for the student body, contacting the student body, faculty, staff, and administration each semester to keep them aware of SGA's goals and progress, and meeting with the university president at least once per semester. I would now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for Student Government Association President, Luca Hearn and Austin Calvo. Luke, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Hi, thank you all for being here tonight. The president of the Student Government Association gets to sit on the university's Board of Trustees, which is a primary decision maker for this university. They're responsible for setting tuition, room and board, scholarships, and maintaining the endowment. For far too long, this body has focused primarily on the university's bottom line. It is an unrealistic request to ask a group of 20-plus businessmen and only two businesswomen to act differently. However, we will demand that just as much focus is placed on the university's student experience as it is on the budget. I have formed my platform around creating a university that the average cost of tuition matches the student experience. There are many smaller issues here that are easiest to highlight, from a lack of parking and programmable spaces to dining and facilities on campus. However, these are symbolic of a larger issue, being that the university's primary concern is its focus with its budget. Additionally, I promise to you to increase school spirit and make students proud to be a Bobcat. I want you guys to think about it for a second. What does it mean to be a Bobcat? That's something not a lot of people actually have the answer to. But to me, it's the endless pursuit for consistent progress, and I expect a university that has the same mission. Building on Quinnipiac pride, I plan on bringing back a renewed May weekend. Something that would not necessarily occur on the same weekend as May weekend, but something that all students, regardless of their age, want to participate in. With games, music, and rides, let's reestablish a Quinnipiac tradition. Throughout the night, I look forward to being able to tell you guys more about my platform, and I thank you all for being here and giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Austin, you may now begin giving your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I deserve this position. That's for you to decide. But I want to earn every single one of your votes through the work that I've put in this week and will continue to put in to prove to every Quinnipiac student that I am the best candidate for SGA president. Since campaign week started, I have been working nonstop. I have knocked on every single door in every single residence hall to hear directly from you about what you want me and SGA to work on next year. I have a notebook full of student issues that I will take to President Olean during our first meeting. I have listened to complaints from students both during this past week and during my 3 years on SGA. This has allowed me to create a campaign and push SGA next year to truly represent and advocate for what the students want, not what the 40 people in SGA want. We are not in these seats for our own interests. We're in them for yours. I'm a student, just like everyone else here, but I truly believe that being the SGA president means putting the student body's wants and needs above my own. This position is not just a title that I think I deserve because I've been on SGA for 3 years. This position means something to me. I'm not trying to sell myself with all of these grand plans of what I want to do this year. That's not what this position is. I want to be your voice in the room, fighting for every student at Quinnipiac. I don't take this lightly, and I will always work as hard as I can to make sure that we, as SGA, provide direct outlets to express your concerns. Next year, I will require other executive board members to hold part of their office hours in the lower CAF, as I have this past semester, to get us out among the students we are elected to represent instead of sitting in our offices. You've talked to me, and I have listened. Through these conversations, I have worked to create a campaign that advocates for transparency, both from SGA and university administration, while working to create a student-centered Quinnipiac. We as students deserve a Quinnipiac where our experience and opportunities reflect the $65,000 price tag. I hope the work I've done speaks for itself, and tonight I hope to prove to you that I am the best candidate for this job because it is a job. My name is Austin Calvo, and this is why I'm running for SGA president.
We will now move into questions. You will have 1 minute to respond to each question asked, and the candidate to respond to the question first will be alternated. Austin, this question is for you. What do you believe is the most pressing topic facing students right now, and how do you plan on addressing this during your time as president?
I think that the most pressing topic facing students is the fact that administration doesn't put our needs and our wants first. We're the ones that are paying to be here. We're the ones that are paying every employee's salary here. Our wants, our needs, and what we want out of this university should be number one, and nothing should come before that. It shouldn't matter what the next class is going to bring. It shouldn't matter what the class 2 years down the road should bring. It should matter about the students right here, right now, and so that we are having the best experience possible that is worthy of that $65,000 price tag that we pay. We have a gym that the ceiling leaks in when it rains. In Larson, every time it rains, there is a pool of water on the floor in the building. That is unacceptable. It is ridiculous that we are at a university where we have to, where we're living in something that is below the quality and the standard of what we're paying deserves.
I can start in a minute now.
Luke, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to Austin's statement?
No rebuttal.
Luke, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
I'm all set. So I have to agree with Austin, and it's the administration's focus, and it's something that I stated earlier, is that the focus is on the budget, and so we're not focusing on what students need and what students want, and that's not coming first. With all the examples Austin listed, but to list a few more, we need better dining options. I mean, our Catholic students have their own space, our Jewish students have a whole building, and then Muslim students are praying in a glorified closet, and I think that's just unacceptable. There's no focus on equality for all of our students across campus, and I think that the reason for that is because of the university's focus on their financials.
Austin, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement?
No rebuttal.
Luke, this question is for you. What is something you have struggled with as you emerged as a student leader, and how will you continue to address that in your role as president?
I think that as a student leader, one of the largest things that I struggled with is managing my time most effectively. I have spent a lot of time working on different initiatives, and then I realized that I'm not the only one that's here. I'm not the only one that can be working on this. And sometimes you have to pull in your friends, and sometimes, especially being on executive board, you might even need to delegate. And to me, that's something that is a scary thought and has been a scary thought, and that's something that I really need to work on personally, is being able to make sure that everybody in the space with me is just as effective working with administration to accomplish their goals as I am. And so time management and making sure that I have faith in the people around me, and especially with the student government that we have this year, I've been able to have faith in those people because they have all been very effective student leaders.
Austin, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement?
No rebuttal.
Austin, same question for you. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, thank you. I think that the biggest issue that's faced me is the same one that's faced Luke, and that's time management. With all of the things that both of us are involved in, it's really hard to find time for everything that we need to do. But having served on the executive board of SGA for the past year and a half, I have been required to dedicate 20 hours a week to SGA. And I think that through the past year and a half, I have really, really improved on my time management skills and learned how to put what matters first. And to me, that is SGA. Yes, I know I'm here as a student, but I would rather leave a lasting impact on this university than get a 4.0 in all my classes. I am willing to, I've taken a grade loss for SGA. That's just the fact. And I am constantly willing to put in the extra time and put in everything that I need to do to elevate SGA and bring it to the level that I know it can be at.
Luke, do you have a 30-second rebuttal to that statement?
Just briefly, I agree. It's putting in as much as you can. But again, like I said earlier, you got to have the trust in the people around you. And so even if you want to sacrifice a grade, sometimes that's not necessary if you have faith in the people that you surround yourself with.
Austin, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
We all know what the big issues are facing this campus. They're pretty easy to see. From the tens of hours I have spent in the past week going door to door, I have heard from you the things that you actually care about and want to see changed. These issues are parking, food, shuttle reliability, inclusion of the arts, laundry and printing included in tuition, just to name a few. I learned all of these things within hours of talking to you, and none of these issues I listed are impossible, but they do require a president willing to push administration to reflect the wants and needs of the student body. Since campaign week has started, and I've gone door to door, I have heard a lot of student complaints. There are a lot of things in this notebook, but May weekend is not one of them. School spirit is not one of them. I'm not saying these aren't issues that need to be addressed by SGA and administration, but from what you have told me, these aren't the big issues on campus. Like I've said all night, I want to work towards what the students want. And if students show concern for these things, I will make sure that they are worked on next year by our Spirit, Community, and Tradition Committee that has been established all semester. None of these executive board positions, especially the president, should be involved telling you what we want and asking you to buy into our vision. This job is you telling me what you want and me working tirelessly next year to make it happen. This position is about you and what you want, not about me. I want every second of work on SGA next year to be directly driven by you as the student body, and the only way to make that happen is by truly listening to what you want, which I have done through my time on SGA and will continue to do next year. I hope throughout tonight I have proven to you why I'm the best candidate for SGA president, and I have earned your vote. Next year, I will never stop advocating and working for you to make sure your voice is heard. My name is Austin Calvo, and this is why I'm running for SGA president.
Luke, you now have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you, guys. Throughout the night, I've made a few promises, one of which would be May weekend, as Austin kindly pointed out. But I want you guys to know that those promises not being just May weekend, but being more than that, making sure that there's an overarching pattern here where the university cares more about the students than it does about its money. And I want you guys to know that these promises are not empty promises. You can look at my campaign last year, reference the Chronicle if you want to look it up. I made 2 promises, and those promises were to increase funding for student organizations and to get club sports on this campus. And you can go reference Quinnipiac's social media. President Olin recently made an announcement saying that our budget was increased by $120,000. And that work, I am not taking credit for that. 99% of that work was done by John Killa. And then for club sports, that was something that was also accomplished, and a huge shout out for that goes to Brandon Batima as well. But I do fulfill my promises, and I want you guys to know that I will fulfill the promises I gave you tonight. There's too much that I said, though, to do all on my own. A lot of it comes from the rest of the student leaders in this room, and so as president, I'm going to work with everybody on SGA to make sure that they are all properly equipped to handle any issues that SGA wants to tackle. And by no means is anybody on student government or anybody in the student body not empowered enough to go make great change on this campus. The promises that I've made to you are promises. They are something that have been backed by my proven results. I don't have a notebook full of ideas, but I do have results that back me. And that is why I'm asking you guys to vote for proven results. I'm asking you to vote for Luca Hearn on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that concludes the 2019 Student Government Association debates. Just a few remarks. Thank you again to the Student Government Association for allowing Q30 Television to moderate the debates this evening. We hope that the information you heard tonight will help you make an informed vote on Wednesday in the elections. Thank you to HB Live for the audio setup tonight. Worked out really well. If you have any questions about our coverage of tonight's debates, you can send us an email at contact@q30tv.com. And again, visit our debates page at q30tv.com/debates2019 for all of our coverage of tonight and the elections on Wednesday, and tune into the Q30 newscast Wednesday night at 9:30. I now welcome to the stage current Vice President for Public Relations and Marketing, Victoria Johnson, to announce the results of the raffle to conclude the evening. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to read a number, and then if that number is the number you have on your raffle ticket, just come up. So we're going to raffle off the AirPods first. So the number is 968002. Okay. Congratulations. So the next number is 967893. All right, guy in the back. Okay, now for the 43-inch flat screen TV. Everybody ready? Okay, 967988. Who was that? He can't win. He can't win. Anyone else? In the back. Yay, congratulations. Thank you guys again all for coming, and remember to vote on Wednesday on DUQU. You will get an email. All the candidates, please.